Part 34. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 331. Chapter 331 Lies. Back in Yuyan village, when he saw Yahiko and Konan again, Nagato's expression still couldn't calm down. Indeed, considering his age, he was only less than 20 years old. Although much experience beyond ordinary people gave him a firm mind, but the things he heard were too unimaginable, and Nagato still felt a little confused. It seems that I have heard some great news. Seeing Nagato like this, Yahiko sighed. He is very clear about Nagato's character, and he can make him show this expression now. First of all, that person is really Uchiha Madara. That's right, it's absolutely true. Hearing Yahiko's words, Nagato took a long breath and exhaled slowly, trying to calm himself down. Kaleidoscopic Sharingan, powerful illusion and oppression, I can't think of any Uchiha with this level of strength. And the things he said really can't make me ignore it? Nagato scratched the red hair irritably. Originally, I thought that I would not waver to our long-standing dream in front of anything. But if it wasn't for Brother Wu's previous reminder, I think I might have been shaken. So serious? Yahiko's expression turned serious, and Zionan's eyes also tightened. Nagato, your mental state is very bad, take a rest first, and then talk slowly. Zionan is now an excellent medical ninja, and it is clear that Nagato is just trying to suppress mental fluctuations. This is not a good thing for the problems that samsara I may cause, or for himself. Thank you, Xiaonan, I am indeed still too easily influenced. Nagato smiled wryly, pinching the center of his brows. But it doesn't matter, there will be no problem in a short time. Yahiko, please come over as soon as possible. Now. Nagato, you should take a break. Right now, Yahiko, this matter is very important. If Brother Wu can answer my doubts, my state will naturally improve. Hearing what Nagato said, Yahiko and Konan looked at each other, and there was no objection. Good. Taking out a special arcane crystal, Yahiko crushed it severely. About 10 seconds later, a flash of arcane light flashed, and Wu's figure appeared beside Yahiko and the others. Brother Wu. The three of them saluted together. In front of other people, Yahiko is the leader of Yuyan village, and the relationship with Wu is male to male, so it is natural to keep a distance. But in private, their relationship is more intimate as a teacher and a friend. Nagato is back. Satoru saw Nagato with an unnatural expression at a glance, and frowned. The construction of Gao Tianyuan is still in progress, I came from a clone. But even so, I can still see that Nagato seems to have been greatly stimulated. What happened? Brother Wu, this time I met Uchiha Madara, I got very important news. Slowly telling what Madara showed him about the correct path of the Sage of the Six Paths Moon Eye project, under the shocked gazes of Yahiko and Konan, Nagato smiled wryly. Brother Wu, Yahiko, Zionan, of course I considered that Madara was lying, but he told me a lot about how to use the reincarnation eye, and... Nagato pulled out a short black stick. This weapon is said to be made by the Sage of the Six Paths with the eyes of reincarnation. I found that, it can really be controlled by the eyes of reincarnation. Doesn't that mean? Yahiko's face was full of disbelief. What Madara said is true. He, or his organization, really got the legacy of the Sage of the Six Paths, and the so-called right way. How come? Zionan covered her mouth in disbelief. Sage of the Six Paths, who created the ninja world, wants to destroy the world. Humph. Playing tricks. Contrary to the expectations of the three, Wu didn't feel the slightest shock, but snorted coldly with disdain. Uchiha Madara, that old immortal, is really getting back as he lives. This statement, which is both true and false, really has a market. Brother Wu, do you think Madara is lying? Nagato couldn't help asking. But he clearly knows Samsara Eye so well. Satoru thought about it, and now telling Nagato that the Samsara Eye was originally Madara, there would be too many things to explain. Nagato, Madara told you some usages of reincarnation eyes, which one is the most dangerous? The most dangerous. Nagato was stunned, and Yahiko next to him became nervous. Dangerous. What did he tell you to do in a dangerous way? Yahiko, the eyes of reincarnation have many abilities, and I have only developed part of them so far. Madara did tell me a few dangerous ways to use them, but they all have incredible effects. Nagato paused, his face serious. The most dangerous one is a technique called heteropathic innate art of reincarnation, which transcends the 6 realms of reincarnation eyes. The function of this technique is to resurrect the dead. The eyes of Yahiko and Zionin widened. The resurrection of the dead only exists in legends. But the price is a huge amount of chakra. The more people are resurrected, the longer the death time, the greater the chakra consumption. It is possible that it will exceed the upper limit of the caster's chakra. Nagato pursed his lips, and said, if you don't practice enough, you may die. It really is too dangerous. Yahiko murmured, but breathed a sigh of relief. It's just may die, as long as the time and scale of resurrection are well controlled, and if the practice is sufficient, this technique is worthy of the powerful technique contained in the Eye of Reincarnation, which is known as can create and destroy the world. Blade is lying to you. Enlightenment's words stunned the three of them. The Samsara natural technique of the Samsara Eye is a technique that the caster can only use once. It can revive one person, and it can also revive many people within a certain range at the same time. It can even specify the physical state of the dead to be resurrected. For example, resurrecting a guy who died of his death in his youthful peak form, or resurrecting a decapitated person back to an intact state. The sarcasm on Wu's face became stronger, and in the dull expressions of the three of Yahiko, he said something that shocked them. But no matter what kind of resurrection, the cost is the life of the caster. This is a 6 forbidden technique that consumes all chakra at once, and you will die if you use it. What? After Yahiko was shocked, he was filled with endless anger. Nagato. That bastard Madara hid such an important matter. Is he trying to resurrect someone from you? Leader Xiao's gaze made him immediately understand the reason for Wu Wu's sarcasm. He wants to use deceit to make you sacrifice your life for the resurrection of an important person of his. This, Eye of the Moon project really needs a leader, and that is Madara himself. Nagato shuddered a little, and didn't even ask why Satoru knew so much about the reincarnation Eye. After performing a certain ritual, Madara will die. I need to use this technique to revive him, and then proceed to the last step. Damn it! A cold light flashed in Yahiko's eyes. Uchiha Madara. Brother Wu. Nagato finally came to his senses. Brother Wu really knew more about the Eye of Samsara. Why are you so clear about the eyes of reincarnation? If you hadn't reminded me before, I would have. It's very simple. Wu spread his hands. Because of what Madara said, the steel left by the Sage of the Six Paths. It's in Konoha. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 332. Chapter 332 Uchiha Steel. Konoha, Uchiha Clan, Nanga Shrine. Enlightenment, this is the secret meeting place of our Uchiha clan since ancient times. The patriarch of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fugaku, walked into the secret place of the Uchiha clan with Wu's mirror image. Your help to the Uchiha clan is so great that it can be said to change the fate, so here, as the patriarch, I am willing to open it to you. Uchiha Fugaku opened a floor, revealing a secret entrance. However, how do you know the secret? Even in the Uchiha clan, only the patriarchs of the past generations passed on the information of the underground secret room by word of mouth. Well, in fact, the first generation of Hokage Senshou Hashirama once entered the secret room. Fuyu was taken aback by Wu's answer, and subconsciously blurted out a name. Uchiha Madara? That's right. Back then, I established Konoha Hidden Village together with Senju Hashirama, and even Hashirama intended him to be Uchiha Madara of the second Hokage. Satoru nodded under Fuyu's complicated expression. He came here with Senju Hashirama, who has become Hokage, and told him the deepest secret hidden by the Uchiha clan, the stone tablet left by the Sage of the Six Paths. Fuyu let out a sigh of relief. If the news came from the Qianshao clan, then he would have no doubts. Many times, Fuyu wondered how many secret records the Thousand Hands clan had left behind. However, it is impossible for him to go to Nakoki or Tsunade to verify. With no psychological burden, Wu pushed all the sources of these traceable information to the Qianshao clan, saving a lot of trouble. So, now you, Patriarch Fuyu, you should be the same as Uchiha Madara at that time, and the content on the stone tablet that you can interpret. Fuyu's eyes narrowed slightly at Wu's words, but he still nodded. Wu, have you really discovered it? Kaleidoscopic Sharingan, the Patriarch Fuyu opened his eyes before the Samsara seal technique was completed. Wu shrugged. Foreseeing the future, or in other words, based on existing information, a powerful deduction of countless possibilities in the future, and finally the image that is closest to the real future. I said earlier that your reasoning and handling of cases is superb, but I am not flattering you. Hee, you even guessed your abilities, Wu. I'm so glad that neither I nor Uchiha are your enemies. Fuyu gave a wry smile. What else could he say? Then, come take a look with me, this stele left by the Sage of the Six Paths. Fuyu turned and took the lead to walk into the secret passage. Back then, Madara rebelled against the village for the guidance of the stele, and finally attacked the village in turn, triggering the Great War of the Valley of the End. From Madara's point of view, the entire Uchiha clan betrayed him. When he left, there was no one behind him. But from Uchiha's point of view, it's not that Madara betrayed us. The people of the tribe are tired of hundreds of years of war. If Uchiha is really a group of war lunatics, how can no one be willing to support Madara? In the final analysis, it was a few careerists who abused Izanaga to make troubles, which made the second generation see you differently. Otherwise, the time when Madara rebelled against the village was Uchiha's best vote. In the underground secret room, Wu finally saw the ancient stone tablet enshrined in the center, with a lot of ghostly symbols written on it. This is the writing of the Itsutsuki clan. It's really ugly. Wu secretly complained that Uchiha Fugaku had already begun to explain the content on the stone tablet to Wu. The words on the stele are very special, and you need to use your pupils to interpret them. You can see part of them in Sharingan, but you can see more in the kaleidoscope Sharingan. Fuyu paused, touched his eyes, and those eyes had turned into a more complicated pattern than the Sangujade. But even the kaleidoscope Sharingan cannot interpret the last paragraph. Among the content that has been interpreted, there are Sharingan eyes opening, and the evolution to kaleidoscope Sharingan, and even the way to become eternal. Fuyu chuckled and shook his head. Originally this is the deepest darkness of my Uchiha clan, the power that can only be obtained through the deep stimulation of negative emotions. Even as the patriarch, I am full of awe of it. But now, this curse-like evolutionary condition has been changed because of your existence. My pair of kaleidoscope sharing eyes will soon be able to get rid of the risk of blindness. With a deep bow to Wu, Fuyu said sincerely. On behalf of the entire Uchiha clan, thank you. The Fuyu patriarch doesn't have to. This is also to satisfy my little thirst for knowledge. Wu raised his left hand, and Fuyu felt that his body was being dragged by an invisible force, and he couldn't do it. But you, Patriarch Fuyu, are different from other Uchihas in history who were gradually swallowed up by the darkness of Sharingan. You are very sober and rational. Not only that, you are not sticking to the ancient traditions, you are actively seeking changes, and you are looking for me for cooperation. This is what I admire most about you. I followed the guidance that the kaleidoscope seed. Although I realized that you were beyond my expectations, but the result was countless times better than I imagined. Uchiha Fugaku glanced at the steel again, and then turned to Wu. It is also recorded on the steel that the kaleidoscope Sharingan can control tailed beasts, and the missing part requires more advanced pupil power to interpret. A god divides yin and yang into two poles, and for the sake of stability, when the two poles are reunited, everything will be available. For the more advanced pupil power, that is, the state above the kaleidoscope Sharingan, there is only such a reminder on the stone tablet. But what kind of state that is, we have no way of knowing. When Uchiha Fugaku said this, he was also a little puzzled. Back then, Madara thought that this was the road ahead, but I was not as good as Madara, and I couldn't comprehend it at all. What does this sentence mean? So, Wu, I brought you here, and I also ask for your wisdom. What do you think of this sentence? Don't you think that the two poles of yin and yang are yin and yang escape techniques? Satoru joked, and Fuyu smiled wryly. It's inevitable, isn't it? The Sharingan of the Uchiha clan is the Yin Dun Sueji Jija. It is natural that this stone tablet mentions Yin Yang Dunchu, right? That's right, that's the case. Then why can't you think of what Yang Dun corresponds to? 1,000 hands. That is, physical strength inherited through blood. Fuyu nodded. I did think so, but Senju and Uchiha have fought for hundreds of years. People should have thought of this kind of thing long ago, and now only Najuki and Tsunade are left in the Senju clan. Fuyu felt that he smiled wryly too many times today. Although there are excellent women in the clan, by the time I opened the kaleidoscope Sharingan and learned of this sentence, Shenshu was already engaged to Uzumaki Carnation. Tsunade, let alone Tsunade. Well, Itaki is a bit older, but it doesn't matter. Chief Fuyu, you are 5 years older than Mikoto-san. Wu's brain twitched, and he blurted out. Isn't Sister Mikan pregnant again? Carnation is also pregnant, or, the two children will marry each other? Uchiha Fugaku. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 333. Chapter 333, Kaleidoscope Sharingan. Satoru swears, this idea really came up in a flash of his brain. But the premise is that Carnation is pregnant with a girl. It should, not change, right? Cough, Patriarch Fuyu, you don't take it seriously, do you? Seeing Fuyu actually thinking seriously, Satoru grinned. This matter can be put aside first, let's continue to deduce the information on the stone tablet. Okay, but Satoru, if Naoki really has a daughter, I will consider this matter. At that time, I will ask you to lead the line. After all, Senshou and Uchiha, well, you understand. Uchiha Fugaku really took this matter to heart. This generation missed it, and the next generation can. The message from the Sage of the Six Paths, is this understanding correct? Satoru looked at the serious Uchiha Fugaku speechlessly, and agreed for a long while dumbfounded. Compared with Bambi, Fuyu's thinking is more like a normal person. Anyway, there are still a few months to know. Hey, well, Patriarch Fuyu, I can tell you in advance, where the more advanced pupil power of the kaleidoscope Sharingan comes from. What? Fuyu opened his mouth wide in shock, his face full of disbelief. The Thousand Hands clan even researched this. No, it's not the Thousand Hands this time. The topic returned to the right track. Wu waved his hand and reminded. I heard from another place that someone mentioned the stone tablet left by the Sage of the Six Paths. And if there are no other stone tablets, it should be this one. Other places? Fuyu looks solemn. Is it related to Uchiha Madara? Obviously, if it is the news of the Uchiha steel, the person who is most likely to spread it is this Uchiha clan, the first head of the rebellious village. However, he was still not bold enough. Someone claimed to be Uchiha Madara, and approached the Nagato of Yuyan village. Before Wu could finish speaking, Fuyu opened his eyes wide and blurted out. Samsara eyes. Nagato's reincarnation eye is no longer a secret in the current ninja world, but it is only known to the senior officials of the hidden villages. And Fuyu is very concerned about this powerful pupil technique known as the most noble of the three pupil techniques. If reincarnation eye is an advanced pupil technique that surpasses kaleidoscope writing sharing eye, its pupil power can interpret the remaining content of the steel. Fuyu frowned, and the kaleidoscope pattern in his right eye turned rapidly. So that's how it is. I understand that the endpoint of the evolution of kaleidoscope Sharingan is Samsarian, but there must be the power of Uchiha and Senshou. Wu, you already knew that, didn't you? The art of reincarnation, it's ridiculous. I always thought it was just a simple name. Madara was already dead. No, there isn't a key. In Fuyu's right eye, as if replayed, it showed an image that was almost close to the truth. Back then, Madara used Izanaga to rewrite the dead reality. It was something the high-level people speculated about. Now it seems that it is true. Fuyu murmured. Then, it's impossible for the revived Madara to do nothing. With his character, he will definitely keep looking for a way forward. For the first time, after he rebelled against the village, he still failed using Sharingan to control Kuwabai. He failed to defeat the first Hokage Senju Hashirama. Then this second time, he will definitely study how to get the everything in everything. Blood inheritance. No, he will not be the one who pins his hopes on future generations, he will definitely do it himself. He himself is already the top Uchiha, so correspondingly, he will definitely play the top-level Senju's idea. The first Hokage Senju Bashima. Valley of the End. Under Enlightenment's amazement, Fuyu's kaleidoscope Sharingan almost saw the battle at that time. In this battle, Madara has set up a retreat. He is not going to fight the first generation to the death at all. He is to steal the power of the first generation purpose. The power that can suppress the eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan and tailed beast. Would escape secret technique. It turns out that even among the Thousand Hands clan, only the first generation had such a powerful would escape secret technique back then. Just like Uchiha may not be able to open Sharingan, the Thousand Hands who possess the would escape secret technique are the real power of a Thousand Hands, the inheritance of Yang Dun. Earth, water, Yang, the elimination of the three types of chakras, which are formed by the change of the nature of the blood, is the true face of the would escape secret technique. It's just that Yang escape is usually reflected in vitality, which is ignored. The red light in Fuyu's right eye was shining brightly. Apparently the kaleidoscope's deduced phantom had allowed him to see the development of the matter. Intercolumn cells. The original interstitial cells, Madara got this thing from the injured first generation. The intercolumnar cells contain incredible vitality, so Madara is still alive. Not only that, he also successfully obtained the wooden escape secret technique. Uchiha and the power of 1,000 hands, yin and yang escape as one. Uchiha Fugaku suddenly froze. Madara's eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan evolved into Samsarian. After that, he went back to Konoha and looked at the steel again. Going in and out of Konoha, which is shrouded in the barrier of perception, and Uchiha, who is heavily guarded, is like entering a no-man's land. Sure enough, only he can do it. The red light in Fuyu's right eye gradually went out, and he shook his head regretfully. I can only see here, but there seems to be some strange things, which I can't understand with my pupil power. I can't help but applaud you, Captain Fuyu. Your kaleidoscope Sharingan, amazing. The right eye goes back to the past, and the left eye sees the future. It's a wonderful combination. Satoru applauded lightly. Uchiha Fugaku had deduced most of the facts. But the key, I am afraid that even a kaleidoscope cannot be guessed out of thin air. For example, the golem of the heretics, the ownership of the eyes of reincarnation, and the follow-up content on the stone tablet. Nagato's reincarnation eyes, Madara's reincarnation eyes, interesting. Fuyu stroked his chin, and had some vague guesses, but he couldn't be sure. Madara is now looking for Nagato. Is it because of the appearance of another pair of reincarnation eyes? What does he want to do? He deciphered the stele and understood the secret of the eye of reincarnation. He needs the power of Nagato to help him accomplish one thing. Wu paused. Captain Fuyu, you also know the relationship between me and Nagato is also very confused because of some things that Uchiha Madara revealed to him. Then, if I bring Nagato here, no matter for Uchiha or Nagato, the information on this slate should not be a secret. Fuyu was silent for a moment, gritted his teeth and nodded. Samsara Eye is originally the form above the kaleidoscope Sharingan, but why does it need the power of Qianshao, and what secrets are hidden in it? I am very curious. Nagato belongs to the Uzumaki clan, and the Uzumaki clan and the Senju clan are distant relatives. Samsara Eye, does he also have Uchiha's blood? Fuyu's thinking was obviously off the mark, but Wu didn't intend to correct it. In fact, this is the purpose of asking Captain Fuyu to bring me here this time. When I know that Uchiha Madara reappeared, this matter is not just a trivial matter. Wu's face is serious. You also know Uchiha Madara's character. Since he appears, he will definitely be unwilling to be lonely. It seems that the time for the Guardian Council to play a role is coming. Before that, we must obtain as much information as possible from Madara. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 334. Chapter 334 Interpretation. Different from the original timeline. Originally, at this time, Madara should be a very old guy. Even if he can use Baiju to carry out a certain level of action, he should not be able to do anything. Otherwise, why would he need a substitute? The last time I saw Juiusui on the battlefield, Wu didn't have time to pay attention to it because the main body was maintaining the war portal. But he also confirmed that, at least by then, Madara hadn't given up on her plan to find a surrogate. However, Obito and Shisui were protected by him. Originally, I thought that Madara would continue to wait patiently. After all, there are so many people in the Uchiha clan, and there are many mental illnesses, so they can always find opportunities. Helping the Uchiha clan to solve the problem of Sharingan is also a step of preparation for this. When Madara tried to fool Uchiha, he found that few psychopaths would understand him, so he must have doubted life. But now, he actually ran to find Nagato himself. Moreover, it's so hard to die. This time Madara adjusted the real body of enlightenment again when the construction work was going on in Takamahara. Although Nagato has the insurance provided by Satoru, Satoru cannot go to see Madara in person. Judging from the situation described by Nagato, it is more than 80% likely that Madara will act on his own this time. Even if he can use the stolen Sharingan to create a representative who is not from the Uchiha clan, but after the war just experienced, there are countless strong people who have lost in every country and village. Satoru couldn't think of anyone else who could give Nagato that level of oppression and could pretend to be Madara. That is to say, Madara has either recovered his strength now, or adopted a special method to possess a strong deterrent force. And if he regained his strength, why didn't he just take away Nagato's Samsara Eye and start doing things with his extreme strength? Is it because of the Guardian Council? If it is after the parliament has been established and has shown its strength, maybe it is possible. With Madara's pride, it is impossible for an organization that is still being established to have such a degree of deterrence against him. He went to Nagato with the purpose of tricking Nagato into resurrecting him with the eyes of reincarnation. For this reason, he did not hesitate to teach Nagato many abilities of the Eyes of Reincarnation to improve his strength. To perfectly revive Madara at its peak state, Nagato does not currently have the ability to use it to this extent even if it is the Eye of Reincarnation. After all, he is not the original host of the Reincarnation Eye, nor is he the Obito who has obtained part of the power of the Six Paths in the original timeline. And Madara didn't hide it this time, and directly moved out one of the most lethal trump cards for the ninja world, Senran of the Six Paths. You know, it's different from people like Wu who don't have any feelings for the sages of the Six Paths. The more powerful the ninjas in the ninja world are, the more they will be in awe of the legendary sage of the Six Paths who created the ninja world. And like Nagato, who has the same Eyes of Reincarnation as the sage of the Six Paths, after understanding what the Eyes of Reincarnation can do, the awe of the sage of the Six Paths will be even stronger. Because they understand that what the sages of the Six Paths can do, even if they have such power, they still cannot do it. Not at all possible. And using the name of the sage of the Six Paths to induce Nagato in the way of fate, the effect is very obvious. Wu didn't even have any doubts. If he hadn't met Nagato when he was young and saved Yahiko, the three of them would have made a career together. Nagato turned his back on the spot, he would not be surprised at all. Madara, who is so proud and confident, was deeply involved in it after seeing the message written by the sage of the Six Paths on the stone tablet. What's more, compared with Madara's experience, Nagato seems insignificant. But now, although the situation has changed beyond Wu's original cognition, the various defensive measures Wu put in place in advance have played a role. Madara concealed several important information, which he obviously didn't know that he knew. Intelligence blind spots and information gaps still exist. Maybe there are many things that I don't know about, but when the advantage of strength accumulates enough, everything doesn't matter. Madara is only a stage in Satoru's goal. His real target is at Satsuki. Then, assuming that Madara is in a state where she can move freely, but has not fully recovered. Either after using Nagato, he takes back the Eye of Reincarnation and collects the tailed beast himself. Or, they will completely hide behind the scenes, fool Nagato to collect tailed beasts, and jump out to pick the fruits at the final stage of success. Satoru has thought about this issue carefully, and according to Nagato's description, Satoru prefers the latter. Madara hopes that after the sacrifice he has to make before the final stage of the plan, Nagato will be able to revive him for the final stage. The ability of the Reincarnation Eye is used in this way. It seems that the sage of the Six Paths has planned it quite carefully. However, Madara did not expect that Wu knew about the Uchiha steel, and now. Nagato, this is the contemporary patriarch of the Uchiha clan, Uchiha Fugaku. Nagato walked out of the portal of enlightenment, and saw Fuyu waiting in the secret room. Satoru introduced the two of them, and Fuyu woke up from the shock of seeing the Eyes of Reincarnation up close for the first time. Sorry, my Sharingan seems to have a special feeling. Fuyu frowned at his own stupefaction. It is indeed a higher level of pupil power, surpassing the kaleidoscope, and even the eternal kaleidoscope with double pupil power is incomparable. Patriarch Fuyu, your Sharingan seems to be different from the normal ones. Nagato carefully observed the current strongest known Uchiha clan. After meeting Madara, Nagato has a new understanding of the potential of the Uchiha clan. Nagato, this is what I said before, what Madara mentioned, the stone tablet left by the sage of the Six Paths. Satoru pointed to the enshrined stone tablet, and Nagato's attention was attracted. This is indeed a very special text. The first time Nagato saw the steel, he felt a special energy covering the steel. Clan Chief Fuyu. He glanced at Uchiha Fugaku, who nodded slightly. Ashamed, I still need your help to interpret the things that my Uchiha family has passed down from generation to generation, but since Madara has appeared, I don't care much about it. So, offended? Nagato looked serious, he understood that what he saw next might have a decisive change for the entire ninja world. The evolution method of Sharingan, so cruel. Hitomi power was activated. Nagato pursed his lips, and subconsciously glanced at Uchiha Fugaku. This method is no longer needed now. Satoru has developed a brand new method. He is the great benefactor of our Uchiha clan, that's why he brought you here. Fuyu raised the corner of his mouth. The focus is on the last part. Well, Kaleidoscope Sharingan, Eternal Kaleidoscope Sharingan, Reincarnation. Nagato looked at the steel carefully, his face gradually gloomy. This, Eyes of the Moon, 10 Tails, Sacred Tree, Infinite Tsukiyomi. What Madara said is true. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 335. Chapter 335 Who is behind the scenes? As Nagato recounted the contents on the stone tablet, there was silence in the secret room. Gradually, Nagato's heavy breathing sounded, breaking the silence. Nagato, control your emotions. Wu coldly snorted, waking Nagato out of his abnormal mood. Brother Wu, Calm down, it's just a stone tablet, the sky hasn't fallen yet. Yes, but Sage of the Six Paths, why did he leave such instructions to destroy the world? Nagato hugged his head, his expression full of disbelief. Could it be that this ninja world really disappointed him? Only unlimited monthly reading is the correct way to save the world. Humph. Don't forget, the Sage of the Six Paths has already failed once, so there's no guarantee he won't fail a second time. Wu snorted coldly. Even if what the steel says is true, it doesn't mean there is no other way, let alone. What's more, whether the steel was left by the immortal of the Six Paths himself is still a question. What? Uchiha Fugaku, who was almost stunned by the shock, and Nagato, who was in a complicated mood, raised their heads and looked at Satoru in shock. This steel may be fake. Sage of the Six Paths didn't admit it himself after all, did he? Wu shook his head. And be more confident, who said that the present must not be as good as the past. Even if the steel is real, the message from the immortal of the Six Paths is also true. Is this necessarily true? Don't forget, the things in front of the steel, the evolution conditions of Sharingan, have been deciphered by us. Yes. Exactly. Uchiha Fugaku felt a chill all over his body. He had no idea that the family's ancestral stone tablet actually recorded the strategy of destroying the world. Recreate the new world, a world of unlimited monthly reading, where everyone can dream come true, living in endless illusions. What will that world look like? Although the kaleidoscope Sharingan is turned on, Uchiha Fugaku is the head of the clan after all, and he is not crazy to this extent. His mind has been tempered for a long time, and he has not experienced the tragedy of eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan, nor has he lost himself like an immature teenager. He is very clear that the so-called infinite monthly reading world is illusory after all. That's right, it could solve the problem of war and peace once and for all. But only those who activate the unlimited monthly reading can be called satisfactory. How sad it is for other people to live in a world created by others. There must be other ways. Uchiha Fugaku now finds out how correct Satoru's decision to set up the Guardian Council was. Brother Wu, Patriarch Fuyu, I laughed at you. Nagato also gradually calmed down. That's right, even if what Madara said matches the message on the steel, he's still planning to use me. He didn't tell me some details, especially before becoming a Ten-Tails Jinchuriki, there is no need for any steps of sacrifice and resurrection. And, the technique of reincarnation is really a mortal technique. The back of Nagato who woke up was drenched in cold sweat. Satoru is right, Madara has sinister intentions. Senior Brother Wu, since we found out about this, we can use our tricks to control Madara. After Nagato was afraid, he was angry. Otherwise, he will surely be the biggest obstacle in our efforts to achieve peace. There has never been a shortage of careerists in history. Satoru shook his head, disagreeing with Nagato's idea of controlling Madara now. Except for one spot, as long as the truth is not completely revealed, one day, there will be other people who want to make trouble. Totally unravel. Nagato was taken aback. Senior brother Wu, are you still doubting the authenticity of the steel? Not the authenticity of the steel. Wu couldn't understand what he said, so he could only say. The authenticity of the steel should be beyond doubt, but the information it carries may be wrong, or it may have been altered at all. Wu narrowed his eyes. In fact, it's very simple to verify this point. Just look at what kind of person the Sage of the Six Paths is. Ah! Nagato was completely stunned. But, the Sage of the Six Paths is long gone. However, the tailed beast created by the Sage of the Six Paths is still there. Enlightenment's words made both Nagato and Uchiha Fugaku's eyes light up. Also, after the Sage of the Six Paths created the nine-tailed beasts, they disappeared shortly after. Even if the tailed beasts don't know about the steel, they should at least know what the Sage of the Six Paths is like. It is impossible for a person who has the tendency to destroy the world not to show something strange. The immortal of the Six Paths is still the creator. Can tailed beasts communicate? Uchiha Fugaku touched his eyes. The current kaleidoscope Sharingan can control the tailed beast, but the person who has always controlled the tailed beast, how can he have a relationship with the tailed beast? Of course, and now you all know which tailed beasts are. Enlightenment's complexion was a bit strange, he touched his chin. Well, Konoha's tailed beast is known as the strongest nine-tailed beast among the tailed beasts, and now he... Well, it's not too bad with me, I can still ask him about it. Mito-sama. According to Konoha, Nine-Tails Jinchuriki is still Uzumaki Mito. Because she still attended the wedding of the four juniors more than half a year ago in high spirits. It is basically common sense that there will be no substitutions until Renzhuli is dead. The specific things are classified as high-level secrets, and there is no way to tell you now. Wu spread his hands. For the time being, Nagato and Fuyu could not meet Julama in person. Besides, even if they met, Julama probably wouldn't be happy to tell them anything good based on their inherent impression of tailed beasts. So, how should we deal with Madara's problem? There is no need for hesitation in Nagato's trust in Satoru, especially compared to that old lunatic and old liar Madara. Now that you have seen the steel, you also know about the heretic golem. Madara intends to collect the nine-tailed beasts, seal them back to the heretic golems, thus resurrect the ten-tailed beasts, become ten-tailed Jinchuriki, and then open the infinite monthly reading. Wu thought for a while, then revealed a smile. In fact, some time ago, I got the message of 10 tails from the 9 lamas. You also know that the 10-tailed beast cannot be revived without any tailed beast, but in fact, as long as there are some tailed beast chakras, it is still possible to step into the 6 realms in an incomplete state. The reliance of all this is the body of the 10 tails, the golem of the heretics, so destroying the golems of the heretics is a once and for all method. With his eyes fixed, Wu said in a deep voice. And this method, in the discussion between me and the 9 lamas, has already had some eyebrows. Fuyu and Nagato found that they had never really known Wu. He is always ahead of everyone. Madara, let's make a deal with him first, find out what state he is in now. The thing about the heretic golem is only possible. At this stage, it is still the best way to start with the tailed beast. Don't get me wrong, instead of killing the tailed beast, there are other better ways. Enlightenment looked at the two men with weird expressions, and touched his nose. Blade will definitely fight the idea of tailed beasts, and tailed beasts are the lifeblood of every hidden village. Let Madara come first, and then, he. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 336. Chapter 336 Void. This, Madara said that his organization needs manpower to collect information on tailed beasts. Not long after this meeting, when the construction of Gao Tianyuan was completed, Nagato found enlightenment again. Senior brother Wu, Madara has always been hiding his strength and situation. I can't judge what his current situation is, and I can't even perceive him at all. Nagato said distressedly. It should be related to the guy named Ju who is following behind him. They have a special technique to avoid my perception. It would be too dangerous if my people went to him. It doesn't matter. The matter of Gao Tianyuan came to an end, and Wu was in a good mood. The floating island has arrived at the designated location, the junction of the land of rain and the land of fire. For the rest, as long as the portal is opened, the Council of Guardians can officially move in. So, he had another idea. Instead of letting Madara recruit people from you, why don't you establish a new organization, cooperate with Madara and take the initiative in your own hands? Wu rubbed his chin. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that this method was feasible. Samsara I has the ability to create clones of the 6 realms. Aren't there many vegetative people over there? If you ask him for some, he won't refuse, but will strongly support it. Those things are not smart enough to be used for much, but as clones, they can create 6 strong people. Then this is the team you build your organization. Nagato's eyes widened, and Satoshi's thinking became more and more free. Haha, the organization that you and Yahiko created together is called Akatsuki, so this organization is called Su. It doesn't exist in the first place. In this way, while helping collect information on the tail beast, you can always get some information about him due to frequent contact, and it is also convenient to grasp Madara's whereabouts. Wu Yi clapped his hands and praised himself. Moreover, manpower can use those powerful rebellious ninjas. It doesn't hurt to die, and it can prevent these guys from being scattered all over the ninja world to cause trouble. Brother Wu, you are truly a genius. Nagato couldn't help being moved by Wu's thoughts, and excitedly said. In this way, this virtual organization is equivalent to guarding the ninja world with the Guardian Council in the light and in the dark. After understanding the important task of the organization, Nagato hesitated again. But can I really take on this important task? Nagato, Yahiko's ideal is dawn, just like the rising one, like the hope of dawn. Even though Madara is an old bastard, it doesn't mean that everything he says is wrong. Yahiko's goal is too idealistic, but the fact is that where there is light, there must be darkness, just like Konoha, which had roots before, and even if the roots are cancelled, the darkness cannot be cancelled. Satoru patiently enlightened Nagato. Although Akatsuki belongs to the Kingdom of Rain, its goal is actually the same as that of the Guardian Council. It is up to you to build this organization. The power of Su is not only the back of the Guardian Council, but also the back of Xiao, helping him solve many things. You can discuss this matter with Yahiko, and Mr. Kakuzu will also get involved. His identity is relatively sensitive, and it is not convenient for him to serve in the parliament, but if he is virtual, he can still participate in the economic system of the parliament. Can the executive force of the parliament? Nagato scratched his head. The burden on his shoulders was heavy. It's not a conflict, and there's no need to hide it from Madara. Wu smiled confidently. Let him think that he has planted a nail in my place, let him act with peace of mind and have more opportunities to show his feet. Good. Nagato discussed this matter with Yahiko and Konan. Yahiko is no longer a simple young man. He is in the position of leader and has experienced many experiences. He already knows very well what kind of difficult road he will face. Even though Wu, a tall man, helped him withstand most of the pressure on this road. Go ahead, Nagato. After thinking for a long time, Yahiko nodded heavily, and agreed with Nagato's proposal. If Madara doesn't impose restrictions, it will definitely become a big trouble. In this case, with Brother Wu around, we will take risks. Although I don't approve of using violence to solve the problem, if it's just investigating the information of the tailed beast, if it's an intelligence organization, it's false, I have no objection. Yahiko joked with a smile. You don't have to worry about Akatsuki's affairs. Although you have helped me share a lot these years, there is no problem for me to do it myself. I was already ready to take care of these tasks myself after you are a resident in the Guardian Council. Yahiko laughed. Besides, if you're not around, Zionin, His mouth was covered by a piece of paper. Yahiko blushed and quickly bowed to Zionin, who was a little embarrassed. I was thinking too much, you are always so optimistic. Nagato looked at Yahiko's embarrassment, dumbfounded, his eyes became more determined. In order to prevent the ninja world from falling into the hands of ambitious people, we must work together. After knowing that there is such a terrifying technique as infinite moon reading in the world, I almost lost control of my emotions. Who has no regrets? How many people are there who can firmly not be captured by this seemingly beautiful temptation? Those who are completely irresistible account for the vast majority. Recalling the scene he immediately thought of after learning about the existence of Infinity Tsukiyomi, Nagato pursed his lips. At that time, the reason why Nagato was in a state of confusion was not only because of Madara's words, Sage of the Six Paths sign, Yahiko, and his own dreams. There are also those two figures that I have been hiding in my heart. Own parents. Although after so long, Nagato has been able to maintain a neutral attitude towards Konoha, neither sad nor happy. But if I can see my parents again, live with them again. Therefore, as strong as Nagato, he almost broke his defense. Nagato didn't tell anyone about this matter, even Yahiko and Satoru didn't know about it. But since he persisted and did not collapse, it means that he is now a truly mature and strong man. It's just a false illusion after all, a cowardly evasion of self-deception. All we are doing is to make this kind of tragedy never happen again, to make those who have passed away proud of us, instead of being in a false world and becoming a waste who can only daydream. Yahiko patted Nagato's shoulder with a smile, stepped forward and gave him a hug. It's a pity, let us work hard and do our best to change the world. Believe in the path you have chosen. If a mere stone tablet, a sage of the six paths that you have never seen before, can deny everything we have worked so hard up to now, that would be too absurd. Nagato clearly saw that a gleam flashed in Yahiko's eyes. This is our world, we have the right to live according to our own will. Even if it is its creator, don't try to take it away. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 337. Chapter 337 The Children of the New Generation. It took a month for Wu to complete the construction in Jioshinyuan, which can reach the portal system around the 5 hidden villages. The huge portal base and the energy storage crystal have been prepared, and it can be officially opened only after chakra is infused and Wu is activated in the teleportation hall of Gao Tianyuan. As a true international joint organization, the official opening of the Guardians' parliamentary residence represents the official start of the parliament to play its role in international affairs. Therefore, its ribbon-cutting ceremony was attended by Wuying of Wudayan village. And other small hidden country villages without shadows, their leaders will also be invited to watch the ceremony. After all, this is an unprecedented event in the entire ninja world. Gao Tianyuan's ribbon-cutting ceremony was scheduled for October 1st, with a few days left. And now, Wu is at Konoha Hospital. It's not that he was injured, but today is the day when Zhenshu's child was born. As the last descendant of the Senshou clan, her older sister Tsunade is not married, and Naoki's child is the only Senshou clan member of this generation. Moreover, this is also the blood of the Uzumaki family, the first person of this generation. Ha ha ha. Shenshu, congratulations, there is a little padded jacket. Satoru happily patted the shoulder of the happy Nawaki. Shenshu was holding a small swaddling baby, revealing a small head with beautiful pink lanugo. Ha, ha ha, ha ha ha. Thank you, thank you. The Whirlpool Carnation smiled and watched her husband hugging her daughter. As the Whirlpool family, after the birth of the Whirlpool Carnation, she fully recovered within 2 days, and she couldn't see the weakness of the new child at all. Tsunade had already arranged the entire hospital clearly. Regarding the birth of this niece, she seemed to act in a gentle manner. Well, a little bit. And she seems to have started a detailed plan for the training direction of her newborn niece. In this regard, the 2 disciples, pharmacist Nunau and Jingian, said that they could not stop it at all. What's the child's name? After Wu was busy with Gao Tianyuan's work, he came to see the child for the first time today. It's not that you can't use your avatar to come, it's just that you don't pay enough attention to it. Well, it's called Xianglin, it's named after Carnation. Naoki looked at his smiling wife tenderly, and became proud. I dare say, this is the best sounding name among the children born in this batch. Well, it is also called Huali, and the flower language is the only love. I hope this child will be happy in the future. Carnation explained the meaning of Xianglin's name to Wu, and Wu nodded in understanding. It's indeed a very beautiful name, look at the boys in front, the aesthetics of those who are parents. Wu stroked his chin and couldn't help complaining. Ah, the earliest one, Akimichi Koji, tisk, it's really easy, that guy Dingzo just named his son after the butterfly in the pig deer butterfly. Look at the previous 2 days, Nara Shikamaru, Keiko, the children of Nara's family must have the character deer, a guy as smart as Shikaku, it's so troublesome. And Yamanaka Ino, that guy he's just a pig. Is it really okay for a girl to be called a wild boar? Shenshu and Carnation both laughed wryly. Wu's complaints were really sharp. But it's not over yet, and Enlightenment's venomous tongue continues. Sister Mikoto too, the 3rd generation is still alive, she named the 2nd son Suzuki. That's the name of the old father of the 3rd generation. Anyway, if anyone uses my father's name to name a child, I will definitely educate him. No, the name of Mitamon's consultant is a single character, and it is easy to have the same name. But Mikoto-san has already said that it was Suzuki Sarutobi who started it, she is not afraid that the 3rd generation will put this kid on shoes. Enlightenment made complaints, while curling his lips in one direction indiscriminately. At Uzumaki Mito's home, Hirozuru Sarutobi, who was using the telescope technique to check the ward with a crystal ball, coughed violently. Uzumaki Mito on the side also noticed the small gesture of enlightenment, and laughed. Rijan, this child, Wu, has discovered your technique a long time ago, this time, I have got you in trouble. Ahem, well, I can't talk about it, hee, that kid Wu. Is the old man such a narrow-minded person? Uzumaki Mito was worried about the situation of the eldest grandson, so he asked the retired Sarutobi Hiroza to help him keep an eye on it. For this great-granddaughter, the grandmother really likes it more and more. Although the hair color is not pure red, but there is no doubt that the Whirlpool blood has the upper hand over Xiao Xianglin. According to Senju Hashirama's will, the child still has no surname, so Uzumaki Mito is still looking forward to the birth of Kushina's child. However, it won't take long. Uzumaki Kushina's due date is within half a month. The child of the Uchiha family, Suzuki Uchiha, the children of the 3 patriarchs, Inakacho, Nakoki's child, and Kushina's child, it seems that Patriarch Hayaga's child will be born this year. Hirozuru Sarutobi stroked his beard, with a big smile on his face. The best ninjas of Konoha's generation, and their children will be classmates in the same class. It's really good. It's just a pity, to understand him. Giving a small warning to Sarutobi Hiruzen's petty eyes, Wu didn't even realize that the topic of the two old men turned to him again. He took out a delicate pink gemstone pendant and handed it to Shenshu. This is a teleportation item that I have recently researched. With the portal that will be put into use soon, you can activate teleportation Konoha once. Wu said solemnly, this thing is the legendary instant Hearthstone. After the completion of Gao Tianyuan's teleportation hall, Wu's mastery of space magic can be said to be at its peak. Binding the teleportation location of magic props to a fixed permanent portal is a recently developed technology. In other words, this Hearthstone can bind coordinates to any place with a fixed portal, and teleport there at critical moments. Run if you can't beat it. Wu never cared about not being able to go back if he couldn't complete the task. A Hearthstone, although only one time, is a life. This thing is extremely complicated to make, and it's not like something that a random innkeeper can supply unlimitedly for free. What's more, their version is still unlimited use. After silently complaining, Wu carefully told. This thing must be used with care, even if it is me, it will take, at least an hour to make such a thing. So rare. Did you misunderstand the meaning of rare? Shenshu took the pendant and happily put it on for her daughter. I'm not polite about our relationship. Xianglin, thank you, Uncle Wu. Ahaha, you're welcome, the other children are one by one. Didn't you just say it's rare? Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 338. Chapter 338, The General Hub of the Ninja World. Finally, on October 1st, the Ninja World ushered in the biggest change in recent decades. Since the implementation of the one country, one village system led by God of Ninja Senju Hashirama, it seems that this is the first time that the 5 major countries and the 5 hidden villages have jointly announced one thing. The 5 major countries and the 5 hidden villages jointly announced that the joint declaration of peace in the ninja world drafted by the 5 parties was officially signed. Since then, all countries in the ninja world have abided by the content of the declaration and worked hard to achieve peace in the whole ninja world. In order to supervise the implementation of the joint declaration of ninja world peace, a worldwide joint organization Guardian Council was established. At the same time, the Council serves as a research and development base for innovation and technological progress in the ninja world, as well as a general hub for communication in the ninja world. It has a portal to the 5 hidden villages. The 5 major countries will arrive in no time, and the portals of the small countries can be gradually opened after subsequent conditions permit. The headquarters of the Guardian Council, a new absolutely neutral area in the ninja world, Hai Tianyuan, is located at the junction of the Fire Country and the Neutral Rain Country, in the sky above a kilometer. As the transfer area of the Ninja World portal, ninjas and civilians with a pass to the hidden village can come and explore. A pass is required for the teleportation to Gao Tianyuan. It's not that Gao Tianyuan is only open to the dignitaries of the ninja world, but that the city here is only half the size of Konoha after all, and it is impossible to accommodate so many people from the entire ninja world to join in the fun. Except for the resident personnel of Gao Tianyuan, ordinary people are not eligible to go to most places in the city. After all, although ordinary people can visit the headquarters, they can't just enter the building, right? The teleportation area and commercial area of Jioshinyuan are open to outsiders to visit, but there is a limit on the number of places every day. After all, this is not a tourist attraction, but the headquarters of an organization that protects the ninja world. The construction process of Gao Tianyuan has already exploded at the top of the 5 major countries. The powerful strength that Satoru displayed here even surpassed Wukich's comprehension. Therefore, they didn't raise any objections to Gao Tianyuan's matter. They even believed that Wu's strength now surpassed that of the god of ninja Senju Hashirama back then. But Wu himself thinks that if it is a head-on confrontation, he and Shizujian of the Valley of the End will compare, and I don't know who is stronger. but when it comes to the diversity of means, and things other than fighting, enlightenment is now over. Led by Wu, the 5 members of parliament and the execution force led by Nagato gathered in Gao Tianyuan's teleportation square. In addition, it is the research institute led by Dashimaru. That's right, before enlightenment, he invited Orochimaru to lead the scientific research of the Guardian Council. And Dashimaru resigned to Namikaze Minato decisively after seeing the construction video of Gao Tianyuan. How can the Konoha Scientific Research Department compare with the Guardian Council that will gather the top scientific research forces in the entire ninja world in the future? As for Konoha's Scientific Research Department, Minato understood very well that there was no need to worry about this matter with Gogo and Orochimaru around. Now, Orochimaru is looking at the portal connection ceremony led by Satoru with folded arms. This kid has come to this point without knowing it. The pharmacist beside him pushed his glasses, his big eyes were full of pride. Master, teacher, he is really amazing. Can I be like him in the future? He, Do, you have excellent talent, and now you have the best scholar and teacher in the entire ninja world, but you must not be complacent. The future is ours, and it's yours too, but in the final analysis, except for a few of us, it's yours. On the teleportation square, Satoru, who closed his eyes and sensed, opened his eyes. Under the gaze of everyone, he held the shining Uluneth in his hand, flipping the book of Medivh beside him, and the huge dragon vein energy injected into the energy core of this floating city. Portal, open. Boom. The entire Gao Tianyuan vibrated slightly due to the huge energy output. Unlike the previous war portal opened from Konoha, which required Wu to maintain all the time, what was established this time was a permanent portal connecting the teleportation points outside the 5 hidden villages. Not only is it unattended, but it also needs to match the different chakras that each hidden village powers the portal. Although the tail beast chakra is the best energy source for the portal, the tail beasts are not so easy to talk about now. So, that's a later story. The current portal is the supply of chakra by digital ninjas selected by Gaian village. Enlightenment now needs to be in harmony with dozens of different chakras. However, thanks to things like chakra, it was originally passed down by the sages of the 6 paths in order to connect people. Although the chakras of different people are obviously different, they can be used together through some means. You only need to go through the stage when the portal is opened, and it doesn't matter if you change people later. The light of Uluneth's staff rose sharply, and after a while, 5 huge portals were lined up in the teleportation hall and slowly opened. Oh! Among the members of the Guardian Council, the ninjas from Konoha looked at the ninjas from other countries who would be colleagues in the future with strange expressions and exclaimed embarrassingly. Tisk, a sense of superiority arises spontaneously. A bunch of bumpkins. No wonder he will become the defeat of our Konoha. No, no, no. From now on, we will be members of the Council of Guardians. Mr. Wu, Mr. Speaker has emphasized the need for unity and friendship. The portal gradually took shape, and in the center like a wave, it can be clearly seen that at the teleportation point of the 5 hidden villages on the opposite side, the 5 shadows are accompanying the 5 great national daimyos, leading the senior officials of the villages to wait. Shoo! The expanding portal completely stabilized after a burst of flashes, not changing. Except for Konoha's 4th Hokage, the other 4 couldn't help showing their expressions of excitement. As for the daimyo, all 5 of them were the same. But as the shadows of the village, they immediately calmed down, and under the witness of their respective villages, they stepped into the portal in one step. It was dark for a moment, and the next moment, Wu Ying's figure appeared in front of Wu Ying and the Guardian Council. Welcome to Jiaoshan. A big smile bloomed on Wu's face. The Council of Guardians is formally established. Welcome the 5 cages. Meet the speaker. Wu Ying and Wu bowed to each other, and then, the daimyo of the 5 great kingdoms also passed through the portal and arrived at Gao Tianyuan. Oh he, this is Gao Tianyuan, it's a great blessing to be able to witness such a miracle. The Fire Nation daimyo waved a folding fan, with a smile on his face that couldn't be concealed. Since the introduction of the magical Liang liquor of Satoru, Mr. Daimyo didn't seem to be awake all day long. This city of miracles is within the territory of the Fire Kingdom. The daimyo of the four kingdoms of wind, earth, thunder, and water looked at the daimyo of the land of fire, and felt his teeth itch. "Huo daimyo! You cunning fellow! Oh he, this is sponsored by my lord. What's wrong with the land of fire? Besides, this is just a border." The Fire Country daimyo held a folding fan and covered his mouth with a smile. "My lord is willing to let go of such a powerful combat power of the speaker to do public welfare. What do you have to say?" "Since Chairman Wu is from our country of fire, my lord will naturally give a big sponsorship for the affairs of the council." The four daimyos sneered, their mouths slanted and their eyes slanted, cursing inwardly. "It's nonsense." The Fire Country daimyo took the war compensation from the four countries to sponsor the Guardian Council. "Everyone, let me guide you to visit Gao Tianyuan." Satoru's words interrupted the rivalry between the five daimyos. "From today, this is the main hub of the ninja world. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziujian. Chapter 339. Chapter 339 for the Ninja World. Seeing the fourth Mizukage Kyutaki Yakura again, Satoru keenly realized that something was wrong with this baby-faced perfect Jinchuriki. Although the original Yagura was a high-ranking Mizukage, he was still a good person. In particular, he has a more serious personality and a gentlemanly demeanor. With his baby face, there is always something to make people laugh. But Yakura, who came here this time, was much quieter. Even with the daimyo of the country of water, there is very little communication, and many things are left to Ao. Wu knew immediately what was going on. Yakura, the perfect Jinchuriki, was too superstitious about the power of the tailed beast and his restraint against illusions, so he was hit. Now that Yagura is under control, Satoru finds that Madara not only made the move himself, but his strength must still be maintained at a fairly high level. At the very least, it is much stronger than Fugaku Uchiha, who can make full use of the kaleidoscope Sharingan now. With this level of illusion, the eternal kaleidoscope Sharingan should be a little worse. Now Yagura is not easily found to be under control. If it weren't for Wu's deep research on Sharingan and Sharingan illusion, especially the powerful illusion branch in arcane magic, it would be impossible to discover it anyway. Even if they find out, other people will think that Yagura is a little tired because of his busy schedule. In their thinking, would a perfect human being fall under the illusion? Subconsciously, they ignore this possibility. If Wu didn't know the situation in advance, he wouldn't have guessed it. Such powerful pupil power, what kind of changes did old Mr. Uchiha Madara get, so fierce without a substitute? It seems that the pressure that Nagato sensed from him is not a bluff. Wu frowned slightly, but didn't make it clear. Since Madara is confident that Yakura will come to participate in Takamahara's inauguration ceremony, it means that he is not worried about being found out when he controls Yakura. In fact, except for the factor that Madara, Satoru, didn't expect, the others, including Gakage and Nagato, didn't discover the fact that Yagura had been controlled. Did he want to inquire about intelligence in this way? If Yagura's illusion is released, the fourth Mizukage will probably die on the spot. Forget it, now that Madara has controlled Wuian village through this method, he can make targeted arrangements. Now, another piece of information from Madara hiding in the dark has been verified, and the situation where the enemy is dark and we are clear is reversing. By controlling the strength of Yakura's illusion, Satoru calculated Madara's pupil power and strength. Obviously, at this critical period, it is not appropriate to start a war with Madara. Satoru is not a saint. Before the formation of the Guardian Council, he didn't mind Madara jumping out and slapping Ninja World, let alone now. As for the risk of blood mist in Wien village, Madara's movements will not be so fast, and Yakura, who is determined to quell the blood mist, has become the person he has to fight so quickly. Even if all the people in Wien village are fools, they should find out the abnormality. Madara will definitely figure it out slowly, but Wu Neng can feel that the time when he and Madara face each other is not far away. After all, after the Guardian Council is established, there needs to be someone to sacrifice the knife to. Then let's work hard for 4 generations of Mizukage, let's be wronged for a while. Satoru made this decision without pressure. After all, it wasn't Hokage who was being controlled. So next, everyone is happy and the host and guest enjoy themselves. Gao Tianyuan's flawless and exquisite architecture, exquisite layout, powerful arcane enchantment, and the majestic trial tower in the center. The daimyos of the 5 major countries even had the idea of living here for a while. However, this irresponsible idea was quickly dissuaded by Wukage. Although they also understand that the current Joshinyuan is probably safer than their own hidden village. So, after the grand banquet, the 5 daimyos and 5 shadows were sent away, and on the first floor of the central trial tower in Joshinyuan, Satoru held the first plenary meeting after the establishment of the Guardian Council. The Guardian Council is mainly composed of the 6-member council responsible for decision-making and management, the executive force responsible for military force, the research institute responsible for scientific research, and the planning bureau responsible for logistics. The 6-person council, the speaker Mito Mongo, is responsible for leading the overall situation. In addition to communicating with their respective country hidden villages, the 5 councillors are also responsible for presiding over one of the council's affairs. Of course, if the situation is urgent, the congressman will also take action together with the execution force. Konoha Senator Nakoki is powerful and responsible for the core maintenance of the entire Takamahara. Sahid MP Marki, with a flexible mind, is responsible for coordinating intelligence work. Counselor Yan Yin, Huang Tu, has a stable personality and is responsible for matters related to the trial tower. Counselor Yunyan Toshiro, with rich experience, is responsible for coordinating the logistics work. Wuying Counselor Qing is serious and good at perception. He is responsible for supervising the security work in various regions and receiving foreign guests. The executive force is headed by Amina Nagato, and there are 20 permanent members. They are elite jonin from various countries, including the 5 major countries and hidden villages in various small countries. They are responsible for the security of the parliament. The most important task is to lead the temporary team members to take turns in the teleportation hall. 40 members of the temporary team also come from various hidden villages in the ninja world. They only need to respond to the call of the council during special periods. The director of the institute is led by Satoru's teacher, Ashimaru, who gathered several top scholars and researchers from the 5 major countries. Compared with Wu's strength, Wu's research and development ability and his status as a scholar are rarely known in the 4 kingdoms. Therefore, this also resulted in fewer researchers coming to join Gao Tianyuan. However, I believe that with the subsequent development of the institute, more scholars will take the initiative to come. As for the director of the planning bureau, it will be held concurrently by Mr. Toyo, who is in charge of logistics. Satoru wasn't worried at all that members of parliament from the other 4 countries weren't doing their best. Several congressmen who had just experienced the war knew very well what the existence of Gao Tianyuan represented. I believe everyone understands Gao Tianyuan's mission. Satoru's speech as speaker was also in Hao's unsophisticated style. The ninja world is far from being as peaceful as it seems. From today onwards, the existence of ninjas is no longer purely for fighting. Since I am standing here, as the speaker, I will deal with issues between countries and between villages from an objective, fair, and third-party perspective. I hope that those issues that are not handled well and will easily lead to conflicts will be resolved on the negotiating table. As those who are determined to contribute to the peace of the ninja world, you must always keep in mind your original aspiration and mission. If there are conflicts that cannot be resolved without action, follow the peace declaration and replace conflict and war with competition among young elites. Pointing to the top, Wu smiled slightly. The trial tower not only has the function of tempering strength, but also can be used for competition. With our joint efforts, the ninja world will become even better. For the ninja world. For the ninja world. Guardians of Tirisfal of Konoha. Author, Ziyu. Chapter 340. Chapter 340 Single Dog. October 10th was a day that excited the Hidden Leaf village of the Country of Fire. In Konoha Hidden Village, the youngest Hokage in the world, the fourth Hokage, Namikaze Minato, is blessed with a son. Unlike in the original timeline, Uzumaki Kushina, who is Nine-Tails Jinchuriki, must keep the production time secret. Now the whole ninja world thinks that Nine-Tails Jinchuriki is still Uzumaki Mito. And Kushina is indeed no longer Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. So, she is now like all normal wives and mothers, full of endless joy, with her husband and son. The most powerful medical ninja in the ninja world, Tsunade, and her disciple Nanoyu, the pharmacist, are in charge of delivering the baby. The chairman of the Guardian Council, Satoru Mito, and member of the Konoha Counselor Nawaki, together with Minato's teacher Jiraiya, Master Sarutobi Hirozane, and Umbu leader Hatake Sakumo are personally guarding. Even if Nine-Tails really attacked, he had to go out obediently. Under the guard of the highest standard in the ninja world, Kushina returned to normal with almost no delay after giving birth with the strong vitality of the Uzumaki clan. Minato has always been by her side, and old grandmother Uzumaki Mito, who also entered the delivery room from Kushina, has been guarding outside. Uzumaki Mito's physical condition has been deteriorating recently. Thanks to Wu's help, her life, which had come to an end a few years ago, continued smoothly until now. But in the end, Satoru could only help her make up for the aftermath of Kuwabai's departure, but could not really help her prolong her life. However, Uzumaki Mito finally survived and saw the birth of Kushina's son with his own eyes. The Minato family and Sarutobi Hiruza, Goto, and Jiraiya who accompanied Uzumaki Mito are currently in the nursing ward. Although Kushina has the powerful physique of the Uzumaki clan, Tsunade strictly ordered her to stay in bed for at least 3 days according to the normal procedure. He laughed so hard his teeth almost fell out. Now, Minato and Kushina named their son with the name they had discussed long ago. Taken from the novel by teacher Jiraiya, the protagonist of strong perseverance and endurance. Then, taken from the surname of his wife Kushina Uzumaki. Uzumaki Naruto. Uzumaki Mito's old grandmother hugged the sole heir of the Uzumaki clan's new generation for a while, and then she was accompanied by Sarutobi Hirozane and left contentedly. Jiraiya went out to show off to Tsunade contentedly, and now only the Minato family and Satoru were left in the room. But now, Minato looked at Satoru's swaying staff, and the corners of his eyes twitched. That, senior brother Wu, although I am very happy that he came to congratulate, but it always feels weird. Minato held a little blonde-haired baby in his arms. The little baby had a round face, cute and well-behaved. Before Kushina was pregnant, without the influence of the Nine-Tails chakra, the baby's face did not have a pattern like a cat's whiskers. Minato, let him come. Uzumaki Kushina smiled, looked at her eyes and touched her nose with a strange expression on her face, enlightening her husband. With senior brother Wu here, there's no problem, and... Kushina showed a vicious expression. If he dares to make a mistake, he will definitely be overwhelmed and walk around. Minato also touched his nose, it seems to be. Then I opened the door. Satoru checked his surroundings again. Nothing unusual. With a wave of a luneth, a small portal opened in the room. Wow, ha ha ha. My uncle finally came out. A burst of wild laughter resounded throughout the room, and Minato and Kushina looked at their son with dark faces and cried out in fright with a wow. 9. La, ma. Kushina gritted her teeth, her red hair was about to stand on end. She jumped off the hospital bed amidst Minato's wry smile, and flung herself at the handsome middle-aged man with orange back and big back who came out of the portal and was laughing with his hips on his hips. You scared Naruto? Oh, your human cubs are so small, I think of my uncle. Kurama stared at the little guy in Minato's arms with straight eyes, and stroked his unshaven chin. Well, when I was just born, I was taller than the two old men of Six Paths. Naruto. Is this little guy's name? The 9 llamas ignored the weird faces of the crowd, rubbed their chins and looked at the little baby who was slowly calmed down by Minato's comfort, and suddenly opened his mouth wide as if he had discovered a new world. Minato, you can, tisk tisk tisk. How powerful the Uzumaki bloodline is, apart from Senshou Hashirama, you are the second person I have seen who can suppress this bloodline trait. Wu helplessly finds out that Julama, who was originally such an arrogant guy, seems to let himself go even more after being free. Coupled with his appearance as a middle-aged handsome uncle. Redhead Shanks? Gildas Clivey? You went to the wrong set, hello. His name is Uzumaki Naruto. Minato's face shook. Under the strange eyes of the 9 llamas, Kushina couldn't help laughing. It's Mito-sama's order, Minato. Thank you, don't be afraid, we will have another one. Looking at Minato's exhausted but infinitely happy smile, Go and Kurama looked at each other tacitly. What are you looking at, single dog? Bah! What qualifications do you have to say about me? Tailed beasts are all alone, single men are rare. And this uncle is a fox, not a dog. Fox, you know nothing. I'm enough as a partner. Ailans, who was placed in the private space by Wu, has always been in touch with Wu and the 9 llamas. Hearing this, he shouted. Women are scourges. Especially powerful women, it's unreasonable. The farther away, the better. Just a stick, shut up. Why? Airway looks like a female? 9 llamas, you, huh? The people who were bickering were stunned. Before Minato and Kushina could react, they saw the arcane brilliance in Satoru's hand skyrocket. An eggshell-shaped cover instantly appeared on Julama's body, covering him. Zizi. The complexions of Kurama, Minato, and Kushina changed, and the eggshell-shaped cover seemed to be fighting against something, flickering. Brother Wu. 9 llamas. What's going on? Minato handed Naruto to Kushina with a serious face. Wu's actions are obviously not to imprison the 9 llamas, but to protect him. The shape of the eggshell-shaped defensive shield was unstable, indicating that something unseen happened just now. This is the hinterland of Konoha, in front of them, this kind of thing will happen. Humph, it's my negligence. Julama snorted coldly, his face darkened. He squeezed his palm and touched the arcane shield covering him. Not bad, boy Wu, the reaction is fast enough, this mask can even block time and space ninjutsu. Minato, this is the activation of the psychic contract that existed in Julama from the beginning. A light flashed in Satoru's hand, and the gorgeous Ailans was already in his hand. 9 llamas, you stay here first, now I can't take you into the space for the time being. Minato, take care of this place, don't let other people see Julama, I will go back as soon as I go. Wu snorted coldly. Uchiha Madara, I didn't expect that we will meet so soon.